Look at this. Oh my God. This is one of those scary moments that you see in the gym. I've never personally seen anything like this in my life, in person. But, I think we've all seen gym fails, gym accidents. This is the first time I've seen somebody actually walk into somebody doing a squat. And to be honest with you, this is a very scary thought for me. If somebody walked into my bar, pushed me over while I was doing a 200 kilo squat, I don't know what the outcome would be, but I don't think it would be a very good outcome at all. This fella here that we're seeing on the screen is a subscriber of mine. He messaged me last night and he basically said, look what I just went through. So he goes to the same gym I go to. There's a whole bunch of locations. This one is a very busy gym indeed. There's a lot of squat racks about the place, and the spaces between the squat stands and the squat platforms is very small spaces, very cramped. But this fella walked into him and he's pulled out okay. He said he's got a bit of a scratch on his neck, a bit of neck pain, but my Lord, could that have been a lot worse? The moment I saw this video, I thought to myself, oh my God, I never thought of a possibility of somebody pushing me over while I'm squatting. He did really well to kind of get out of that position. I've seen guys, fail squats like this, kind of like, I don't know how it works, but just like drop it over your head. But the neck, the spine, especially at that neck level, man, it's very, very vulnerable. It's like the most vulnerable position of our spine, that's the neck. And the fact is that this fella threw the freaking weight over the top of him and got out of it unscathed. I'm very, very happy for him. But I think there's a lesson for all of us here. You need to be aware of your surroundings, man. It's kind of like what they teach when you start driving a car. It's not just about you controlling your own vehicle, but you have to have the spatial awareness. You need to have the awareness of the traffic, of other people's behavior on the road, because somebody else's mistake can cost you your life. And I don't myself have a bike. I've never ridden a motorbike in my life, but I've got some friends and they always say you need to have a defensive mindset when you're riding a bike on the road. You have to actually control your vehicle, and you also have to look at other people and what they're doing. Literally look at their faces in the car if you can and see what they're doing, where their eyes are. In a similar way, we need to do the same thing when we're squatting. And so when somebody's training beside me, I try to, I don't do this all the time, but now I'm definitely thinking about these things. I try to, go when they are finished, or I load my bar when he's not loading his bar, or I don't try to load the bar when he's doing his set, and these types of things, because I don't want to get in the way. I don't want to, it's scary, man. Like you're doing a set of 5, probably at 85%, let's say. So it's a very heavy weight and you can barely control it just to do repetitions. You don't have the strength to control it laterally or transversely or rotationally. You can't control that weight like that. So the fact that this fellow was able to get out of it unscathed. He had 120 kilos on the bar, if I can remember now. I'm looking at myself now, going through my workout, but I think he had 120 kilos. And by the looks of him, he doesn't look like a big guy. So this is fairly heavy weight for him, right? It's kind of like pushing that 2 times body weight or something along those lines. So that's a big time weight for him, right? And he freaking threw it over his head. You can see in the video that he's actually looking at the guy like, the hell are you doing, man? And the guy probably didn't do this on purpose. Let's be honest. It was an accident. He didn't have the spatial awareness of anything around him. And the fella that was squatting, he probably didn't think that somebody was going to freaking push him over. We've all seen accidents in the gym. We've all laughed. One of my favorite things to do back in the day was to look at gym fails and what people get up to and all sorts of weird exercises that people do. But this is serious, man. People can get hurt. Okay, people can get hurt when you're pushing 80% above your body, your 1 rep max weight. It's scary. Imagine if I was doing 200 kilos and somebody pushed me into the bar or pushed me in my back. I think this is why we have the space. This is why the distance from the bar to the floor, this is why the plates are designed in this way, so we don't get squashed. And one of you guys, I think last week, sent me a link of a Man, unfortunate girl who was doing a squat in a Smith machine. Man, she was doing a squat in a Smith machine with the bench like in between her legs. So she was trying to do a box squat. Now, it all went horribly wrong because she didn't have the safeties on at all on the Smith machine. And basically, she went down with the squat, and because the machine is the machine and it's got its own kind of railroad bar path, she must have placed her feet wrongly, or the weight was too heavy, and the bar basically was too far forward, it seems, and she got basically pinned with the bar on her back, and she fell, her chest hit the bench, and basically there was a bar on one end on her neck, and the bench was stopping the bar from going all the way to the floor, and there was no safety. So she basically got, I don't know what the injury would be. Maybe it's a C-spine injury, cervical spine injury, or whether it's a strangulation. I'm not sure, but the people in the gym quickly ran to her, and the people in the gym tried to help her as soon as they could, but it was all too late. She was lifeless. She basically, seems like to me, severed a spinal cord. So this is some very, very serious stuff that we are doing. And I'm one of those guys that squats outside the rack. The reason why I do this is because I've mentioned this many times before. It started off with me not having a flat surface in the garage, and the surface right in front of the squat rack was flatter. So I started squatting in that. My squat rack is too big to move around. And then I realized that I don't particularly like dropping the weights on the pins, because when I fail, I like to fail to literally drop the weight. And you can imagine it damages the bar, damages the safety pins, and I've certainly bent some safety pins in my life. So I don't want to do that. And I've got bumper plates, so I can dump the weight on the floor safely. I've seen people fail where they kind of push all their might into the bar, and when they can't go anymore, they just kind of go back to the pins. When I go and I push into the bar, I seem to lose balance in that pushing off that grind. And a lot of the time I lose my balance. And so the moment I feel like I lose my balance, I just literally jump underneath the bar and let the bar fall behind me. I never want to fail forwards, because that would be, I don't know what that would be, but that would be very, very scary, very high injury chance scenario. But after seeing this in a public gym, this is some scary stuff, man. It's scary stuff because I can't see 360 degrees around me. I can't see that. And if somebody decides to push me in my back, whether intentionally or accidentally, that could be the end of me. It could put me in a wheelchair or worse. So this is where I would recommend everyone to squat in the squat rack. Yeah, you're not going to get pinned. You're not going to get smashed. Even if you go out of your own balance, there's pins there to save you. I would recommend that. I know you guys see me always outside the squat rack. I learned that behavior at home because my wife is not going to push me in my back, and my kids aren't really in the position to push me in my back either. And certainly there's no enemies, at my home, right? Not that this fella had an enemy in the gym and somebody pushed him, but you know what I mean? So there's all sorts of people walking the earth. There's all sorts of motivations and processes happening in people's minds. It's troublesome. It's troublesome for me to think about, and it's an angle that I never thought about, to be honest with you. Somebody walking into you while you're doing a freaking squat. Never thought about that, because when I squat, like I said, I keep some of these things in mind so I don't get in people's way and it's not crowded and whatever. I have these things in my mind, but I never thought somebody would ever walk into me. So I think I want to thank this fella for showing me this, because I certainly learned a lot. I was in shock last night. He actually sent it to me. I saw it while I was at work, and I was like, man, showed him a couple of my buddies at work. I'm like, look at this, man. Look at this. Anyway, you guys might not think it's all that much of a deal, but for me, you guys know where I stand with injuries, man. You guys know how far away from grinding and how far I go away from having a deformed technique. To have somebody do that to you, this is like number one chance of risk. Anyway, it's a big lesson for me, so I want to thank him for sharing that video. And I asked him, can I share this video on the next video? And he said, yeah, go for it. Spread the message. Let's use this as a teaching tool, as a teaching experience for a lot of us. And so I certainly hope that you guys see this and you have this in your mind as another element to your training perspective, to your training mentality. It's not just you and the weights. It's you and everyone else in the freaking building and the weights. So anyway, with that on my mind, I went to the gym today. I finished my night shift, so I had 13, 14 hours fasting. I had about, when did I go to bed? I went to 9, woke up at 1. There was a 1:30. So 4.5 hours of sleep. Didn't eat. Just basically woke up, freshened up a little bit. Shoes, gathered my things and went to the gym. And so you're seeing this basically on an empty stomach, on a subpar, blah, 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 blah. We've spoken about this many times before. Nothing's in line for me to, perform good. However, as I've said many freaking times before, these are the moments that you get surprised a lot about your performance. I've theorized why this could be: adrenal glands, cortisol, epinephrine, whatever you want to call it, adrenaline, all sorts of hormonal things happening in your body. It's really weird. But I've been surprised many times, and I've set some PRs on days like this. So today I went in, and you guys saw me hit 260 on a deadlift again. So this is the second time in like 3 days that I've done this, which means that, I'm getting stronger. The fact that I can hit 260 now feels like basically multiple times a week is very, very encouraging. I'm feeling strong. My back is feeling really, really strong. I'm in a good spot right now. So I want to say 10 days ago, I hit my 265. And in the last 3 days, I've freaking hit 260, a few days in a row now, or days apart. So let's see how it goes. I've got another night shift coming up, not tonight, but in a few nights. So lots of disruption this week. I'm just really, really happy that I was able to kind of put in a session. Now, after I've said everything about squatting outside the rack, I'm squatting outside the rack. And to be honest with you, I forgot about the whole thing, the whole video, and I started squatting outside. Now, I want to say that if you are squatting, like if you're front squatting, I feel like front squatting is one of those things that is just very easy to fail. I don't know about you guys, but if somebody pushed me in my back or pushed me sideways, it's just very easy to drop down. It feels like it will be very, very hard for me to get injured because the bar wants to drop out of me anyway. The bar wants to fall off me anyway. So any sort of disruption to my form, to my integrity as a machine of lifting, I would just drop the weight. The trouble is with the back rack. The back squat is the stuff that will get you into trouble because you're kind of pinned in a way. But does that mean I'm going to change the way I squat and squat inside the rack? I'm not sure, but it's something that's going to be in my mind. I certainly want to tell you guys to squat in the rack because I think it's a good thing to say to people. Don't take that risk because there's so many people around. So in my mind, moving forward, what I will be thinking about is, okay, what's the gym like? Is it packed? Who's next to me? Who's not next to me? Kind of survey the landscape, if you will, and work out what's going on. If the place is crowded and people are walking in between squat racks and people seem not to care, it's probably in your best interest to go squat in the squat rack because especially at the gym that this fellow was at, I know this gym. It's one of the bigger ones of this brand of gyms. It's packed. There's 8 squat racks, basically sardines, next to each other. So it's very, very kind of hard to get plates on, plates off, and all sorts of things. So I'm not surprised that this happened in a way, although I'm very, very surprised that it happened in a way as well. The last thing I want to see is people get injured, man. We all go to the gym to work really hard, to improve ourselves. And for something like this to happen, to set you back time and effort, it'll be real bad. I've seen lots of fails from like professional powerlifters, world setters, where the bar bends and you can't like rack it back onto the rack, and all sorts of things. Like freak accidents like that happen. But I don't think I've ever seen anybody get pushed, you know what I mean, during a squat. Like that to me is just, and the fella that's probably done this is probably very, very, apologetic, and he was probably, you could see the hand, kind of stick up, and he was like, "Yo, please, man, I'm so sorry." Sometimes sorry is not enough. We all need to be aware. And the fact that we go to these commercial gyms, you need to understand that most people, like 90% of people, don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know their etiquette. And that's something that I can relate to because I remember playing basketball. Okay, and I played basketball at kind of like a high junior level. I played Division 1 under 16, under 18s, under 20s. And I played reserves for men's. Okay, so I kind of played for the majority of my life with guys who know how to play, who know that thing that we like to call etiquette, sport etiquette. You know, when I go out for a layup, you don't stand in my landing spot. That's etiquette, because I can fall onto your feet and I can roll my ankles. So there's certain behaviors that you kind of do automatically to preserve your opponent. Nobody wants to injure the opponent, right? I want to beat him, but I don't want to snap him up. And so that etiquette is learned with people kind of like over time. And so when you're playing against professionals or people that know how to play a given sport, it's safe. But when I played social basketball, I gave up the whole junior kind of thing. And after I started going to the gym, I started playing social basketball, basically like I don't know what you call it, recreation center kind of leagues or whatever. I snapped both of my ankles in the space of 1 year. Why? Because of etiquette. I'll go out for a jump shot, the guy's basically standing in my landing spot. And because my mind is used to playing against people that know what the hell they're doing, I just basically wasn't thinking about that. And I landed on his foot and I rolled my ankle. Okay. Another incident was my own. I was kind of like running around and I misplaced my foot. But the one incident is basically the guy, I stepped on his ankle. So that's basically something for you to think about. Commercial gyms are not weightlifting, powerlifting gyms. They're not CrossFit gyms. They are very open-ended, regular people going for a workout, and they don't know. So be careful. Once again, thank you for everyone on the Patreon list. Thank you for all the support on Instagram. Thank you for everyone supporting me on YouTube comments. Lots of learning, lots of experiences sharing, just like this video. If you have something like this that happens, send a video. I say to guys all the time, like, if you want me to look over your form, I'm happy to do that. The best platform for that is probably Instagram. Certainly this video shook my foundation because I just pictured myself with 200 on my back and somebody pushing me. Anyway, take care of you guys. Take care of yourselves. Just be mindful of your surroundings. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.